Hi, this is Jamie Magrich coming to you from my craft table today. I'd like to try and show you this card. I apologize, it's probably mirrored, but I'm going to scroll down and show you how to make it. It opens like this. Okay. This way, I apologize. I had to try a different approach because my video editor is being really ornery and I wasn't able to upload the video that I shot it one day, and we were having a horrible storm and you could hear all the storm and everything, so I couldn't put that one in. So then I shot it the next day and you still couldn't use it because I couldn't get my video editor to download it. Okay, so now I'm going to try it this way. The pieces that you're going to need. You have a standard A2 size card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Out of the front of it, using the largest of the stitched squares, we're going to cut a window in it, and we need both pieces. We need both this piece and this piece. Okay, so that's the first piece. Go ahead and fold this. And I do recommend using some sort of tape to hold the die in place. Just makes it work easier. Okay, so those are the first two pieces. This piece here is 6.5 inches by 5 inches. I scored it at 2, 4, and 6 inches. Obviously it was this way in my scoring board, but we need it to be this way in the card. And you're going to fold this one a valley fold, this first one here. This one will be a mountain fold, and this one you want to burnish so that the fold goes both directions. It's going to lay flat like that for the time being. Okay, we need a 3-inch square of coordinating cardstock or designer series paper, and using the same stitched square, we're going to cut the center out of it because we need a frame for the front of the card. This piece here we do not need for this card. We need a 3 pieces of designer series paper that is 1 7/8 inches by 4 7/8 inches. This space here is 5 inches, and this is 2 inches, so we need it just to mat inside of there. So, alright, we need a piece of white Whisper white paper that is cut to sit on the front and side of this piece. It doesn't matter what size it is. You can use any shape you want. I just chose the squares because I had them and they were easier. Okay, and then we're going to need 2 pieces that are punched with the story label punch. This is a new punch that is coming out March 1st through the 31st. It's part of Celebration Coordination. Okay, so we need 2 of those. We're also going to need a white one cut out from that. We have 2 small squares out of black, and then 2 slightly smaller squares from that out of white to help decorate the inside of the card. Again, they could be any shape, they can be round punches, whatever you want. I just cut out squares because that was the easiest. Okay, and let's go ahead and get started. Grab a piece of white. I forgot a piece that I'm going to need for the sentiment scrap piece to cut my sentiment out. Alright, scratch piece for the sentiment. Okay, so let's get started here. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is take this piece here. We're going to adhere these to the front of this. I'm going to use Tombow, but you can use tape runner, you can use anything you want, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and use the butterflies on this one. I've run out of the Designer Series paper that I used on the original card. Come on, glue. Of course, my glue's not coming out. Okay, and we're going to mount these in each one of these spaces. This little half an inch piece is going to go towards the fold of the card, so this is the top of the card. Just keep that in mind if your paper has a design in it that it matters which way it goes. I originally was going to use the polka dot side. It's like, I'm going to go ahead and use the butterflies. Why not? I have a lot of this paper. So pretty. Alright. One more of these. Okay, and just to reiterate, this is 6.5 inches by 5 inches. It can be any width this way, but the 6.5 inches is important. And I scored it at 2, 4, and 6 inches. Okay, then we're going to make like a Z fold. So it's going to fold like that. This little piece here is going to stay at the top, to the left, or to the inside of the card. We're going to bring in our card base. I've already done it for the sake of time, but I took the stitched square, cut it out of the front of the card. I did keep in mind that I wanted to put a sentiment down here, so I left enough room for that. Otherwise it really doesn't matter where on the card, what shape, doesn't matter. Okay, so now we're going to bring in this piece. We're going to fold it up on top of itself. We're going to set it inside the card, just a little bit away from the edge, and we're going to close the card front. We're going to see if this crease here is just about in the center of the shape that we cut out. And that seems to work. So we're going to turn it over, holding the pieces together so it stays in place. Make sure it's square on the inside. We're going to put glue just on this little panel here. Okay, then we're going to close the back of the card. Just give it a second to adhere. Okay, then we're going to turn it over. We're going to open it up. And the piece that we cut out of this center here, we want to fit it back into here. Okay, so we want to make sure if it's not a square that it fits into that space. Okay, for my instance it is a square. So we're going to put glue only on this section here that is exposed from the window. That's part of the Z-fold. We don't want to put glue here on the inside of the card base. We just want it on this Z-fold. And the reason that we put the Designer Series paper on first is because it's really hard to cut it around the square once we get it on there. It's much easier to put the square on top of it. Trust me, I did it the other way the first time. It didn't work so well. Okay, so let's make sure we get glue good and covered even on, close to that edge. Fit the square back into the hole. Make sure it's in there neatly, not too close to the edge, to this edge, because it'll catch. Okay, make sure that glue adheres. Okay, then we're going to open it back up. Now either side of this square here, on this little 1/2 inch strip, we're going to cut right along the edge there up to this fold. Just a little snippet. So right next to the square, or the shape that you've cut, right up to that fold. On both sides. This is going to create a hinge. See, it creates 2 little flaps, which is going to be our hinge. Okay, so then we're going to fold it back flat again. This time we're going to put the glue just on these 2 little flaps that we created here. These 2 little flaps on the top, keep them folded flat like that. Make sure the glue doesn't get on the card or on the front of it, just on these little flaps. Okay, then again, fold down the front of the card, make sure that this shape still fits in there. Burnish that glue down on there. Might take a minute since I'm using Tombow. If you use tape runner or tear and tape, it probably would work better. Okay, and we can open the card, and this is not totally glued, so let me glue it back down again. Okay, so this is the basic card. See how it opens? And we're just going to decorate it. So I'm going to bring in this square that's going to go in the center of this. And I'm using the All Adorned stamp set. I'm going to be using the Flirty Flamingo ink, which is the same color as my card base. And let me bring in a piece of scratch. I don't need it for this one, but I will for the next one. And I'm going to, this particular shape of the All Adorned, I'm going to stamp in the center of this. Now I would probably do butterflies with this paper, but my card was supposed to be the All Adorned, so I'm trying to follow with that. Okay. And then on these 2 little ones, one of them I'm going to take this little tiny shape. I'm going to ink it, ink off, stamp on the corner, ink it, ink off, stamp on the other corner, ink it, ink off, and then I'm going to overlap one of these other ones. So there's 3 of them on there. Okay, this other little square, put that one aside for a minute. I'm going to bring this same piece that we've already used, this medallion one. I'm going to stamp it, ink off. Oh, actually, this one I don't need to ink off. I'm just going to stamp a portion of it. Okay. So now I think I'm done with the Flirty Flamingo ink. On the original card I used Early Espresso. It looked really nice with it. This card, since the butterfly paper is black, doesn't have any brown, I'm going to go ahead and use Memento. So I'll bring in the Memento. I'm going to start with this piece here. I'll lose the pieces. And the other piece of the medallion from the All Adorned, ink it up. It has little circles here, and there's hollow little circles on this piece. So I'm going to try to line up the hollow little circles over the top of these other circles. It's a little bit hard to do, especially when I can't really get on camera, get over the top of it on camera. If it doesn't line up perfect, that's alright. See, so I'm just gonna stamp it. That's not too bad. It's really wonky, but it'll look nice anyway. Alright, then I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. Try and line this up. I hope I'm still in camera because I can't see in my camera to tell. Alright. Now, on this one, I'm going to take the Lots of Love out of that same stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it on here. It's upside down, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Then I have a scratch paper. Oh, I do need that. I did forget one step with the lovely lipstick ink, so let's bring that back in. I mean the Flirty Flamingo ink. And we're going to take that medallion again, the large one, stamp off, and stamp, ink up, stamp off, and then stamp a little bit off that way. Okay, now we're going to take our sentiment, which is "You're pretty much the best ever." Ink that up. Again, in my original, I used the Early Espresso. Stamp it right over those pieces that those flourishes we stamped on there. Perfect. I think we're done with all of the ink. Okay, now we're going to bring in that story label punch. We're going to punch this out. That looks pretty good. Alright. Then we're going to bring in this out of the way and start adhering things. So this piece is going to get adhered right to the top of our card here. Whichever way you want it to go, it doesn't really matter. Now it's a little cattywampus, but if you add the pearls in the center of it, see how I added pearls? It finishes it nicely. It looks fine. Okay, so this frame that we cut out earlier from that 3-inch square, using this same square out of the center of it, is going to be a frame for the front of the card. So let's go ahead and glue that on. Sorry if I'm off camera, I apologize. I'm not used to this angle. To stay in this little tiny space. Okay, so this is going to go here. I'll make sure it doesn't interfere with the working of the card at all. Okay, there we go, that's perfect. Okay, now for these are going to get mounted onto these other little squares. Let's go ahead and do that. And again, these can be any shape, any size you want, as long as it fits within those little 2-inch spaces on the inside of your card. Okay, now for this piece on the front, we have these 2 pieces that I already previously cut out of black paper using the same story label punch. One of them I'm going to cut long ways in half. The other one I'm going to cut short ways in half. Then I'm going to trim off these fat little edges. So let me get this out of the way so you can actually see what I'm doing. See these fat pieces here? I'm going to trim those away. Right up to that little pointy corner there. It doesn't matter how far. Just don't want it to show in the... and it makes it a little less bulky. Okay, so let's get those out of the way. Alright, then we're going to add glue to the back of this. We're going to take these little pieces, we're going to make a frame around this so that it pops out. See how we offset it a little bit? Okay, we're going to do the same on all 4 sides. And these just add quite a bit of interest to the ends. And I pushed it down so you couldn't see those points. You could just see the little end here. You can almost trim it a little bit more. But that'll work. Alright. Now this is going to get put on dimensionals. Where do I put them? Here they are. I just put a couple dimensionals on it. Put one in the center to kind of hold everything down. Excuse me. This is going to go right in the center of our card here. Here, right on the front. It's on there. Alright, then these, I put one here, one here. You could put one over here. You can put them one here and one here. Let's do that, however you want to do it. And these were just adhered with the liquid glue as well. There you go, and there's our card for today. It's a flip card. It's not my original idea, the flip card, but the original flip card didn't have this hinge here, so you had to know that you had to pull it this way to open it, and I knew there had to be a better way to do it so that it stayed adhered, so I played with it till I figured out how to do that hinge. So there's that one that we just made. Here's one, the original one that I did for my original video. Here's one that I did trying to figure it out. I was playing with another embossing folder and some ink. Okay, well there's our video for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day.